Yes, Jimmy.
Well, no, nothing. Just the email that Steve sent about our invite.
Oh.
As a show.
I saw that.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of emails overnight.
Got my friends invited to a black tie event.
Oh. Do you own a black tie suit?
Is that a tux?
Yeah.
No.
No.
If you get married or die, I show up in the same outfit.
An Aussie shirt.
I have one suit. One Joseph Abood, whatever his name is. Foreign man, good clothes.
Whatever his name is.
I can't pronounce his name, but I will say he has nice clothes, and I wear them to everything I have. One suit.
Uh-oh.
One suit for every occasion. Well,
look out.
What happened?
Watch it. I don't know if Tom's going to come in and smack Jimmy in the head.
Oh, why? I got the plug wrong.
Where do we begin today?
It's also Douche Thursday.
Yeah, I guess there's some bitter people out there. I don't know.
Oh,
what can I tell you?
Bitter people.
I got a guy a job. It didn't work out. He gets fired, and now he's attacking me personally.
He's attacking all of us.
Oh, well, he's been
attacking all of us.
Well, now he's decided, because I haven't really written him back or call him. No, he's been attacking me all along, Anthony.
Just figured he's
and now he's decided to throw everybody into the mix.
Just figured I wrote it off as he's bitter. I
was going to write him back and just say, I get it, you're bitter. It didn't work out. What could I tell you?
Yeah.
But why are you killing me? I was the one that went to Tom at the time and said, yeah, he would make a great PD for this place.
Right.
It is a known fact I got him the job.
Yeah, Opie got him the job. Oh, don't get any more people jobs. Please.
I get under people's skin to the point that they just feel like they have to just kill me after they, leave this place.
Well, we're talking about douche John Minelli.
Yeah,
former phony backstabbing friend John Minelli, who is now on the complete douche list. What an ass this guy is. When he was here as program director of our station in New York, when it was the Free FM, when it was called Free FM before it went back to what it is now, K-Rock, where it's us in the morning, music the rest of the day. It was one of these Free FM stations where it's us in the morning talking, and then more talk shows all throughout the day and night, and talk. So we had no PD at the time when we came in, and a lot of suggestions were going around. Tom consulted us and asked for some suggestions, and Ope said, John Minelli, good guy, knows talk radio. We have a good rapport with the guy. Bring him in. And Tom's like, all right, I'll put him on the list. We'll think about it. And that's what happened. They hired John Minelli to be the program director of Free FM here in New York City.
And we go back years with John Minelli.
Yeah, he wrote for the Post.
He always wrote about the show favorably when he wrote for the Post.
We give him little inside scoops on things that were happening, things like that.
And when Howard had his problems with John Minelli, and it led to him being fired by the Post, we gave him a voice to trash Howard and speak his mind.
Right.
We've always been there for him. And it didn't work out with Free FM.
No.
And he thinks that it's so weird where this is coming from, because he thinks we trashed Free FM when this went back to music.
Yeah.
We really didn't trash Free FM when this place went back to music. We're very happy that it went back to music. I personally think if there's less talk shows on a radio station, that gives you a chance to succeed as a show. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But we supported a lot of the shows that were in place. Matter of fact, we got suspended for basically sticking up for JV and Elvis when they went through their troubles.
Right. Exactly.
We were supporting Ron and Fez, who are really good friends of ours. One of the few radio shows that we get along with. We
hated the fact that in New York, Ron and Fez were doing a show here on K-Rock, what it is now, K-Rock. But because they went to music, they had to go. Unfortunately, I love those guys, but it's part of the business. The fact that this guy doesn't seem to understand the radio business is mind-boggling to me. When a station flips format, regardless of your opinion, there are people that are thinking that not enough time was given to the format, to the talk format, that the people in charge didn't have enough power to put people in or take shows out or something. Regardless of all of that, it's radio. It's this business. We can be gone tomorrow. We've always said that. It almost happened recently. A lot of things happen. It's a stupid business. And then when John Minelli gets let go because they changed formats, he's not a rock music program director. He's a talk guy. He gets let go. Now, as a courtesy, the guy was allowed to come in that last day during the flip, go into the conference room where all the staff of the station here and Tom Chiusano and everybody were talking about how the station will flip, the stunting that went on before it, and gave John Minelli such props. It was amazing. Tom just stood there and talked about what a great job John did. Unfortunately, we're going in another direction, but he did a really good job, blah, blah, blah. And everything seemed fine. Well, since that day, he's done nothing but bash the crap out of this program, out of the Opie and Anthony show. Didn't have the courage or whatever to face us and actually let all this out when he worked for us. When his job was to critique the show, he barely opened his yap. But now that he's not working, he sends email after email that we haven't even responded to. It's like, who cares? But now, this last one is like 3 pages of just this bitter sarcasm. It's all this like sarcasm and just he titled it his final critique. Well, I hope so, because you can really stop listening to the show anytime you want there.
Yeah, if he sucks so bad, why are you listening every day?
Yeah.
Why are you staying up at night? I know he records the show and type out these emails at I think it was at 1:30 in the morning when he sent this one. And he's one of these guys, he hides behind his computer. It's like, we do everything face to face. He has my phone numbers. If he had a problem with me personally, he could have certainly called my cell phone. He did in the past.
Yeah.
You know, he could call the radio show. But instead, he hides behind a keyboard and is all brave and writing out what's wrong with the radio show and taking all these weird shots at every single person in this room right now. Mm-hmm. No respect whatsoever for this guy.
And if
it's so weird, I get myself in situations where I think I know people, and then I realize, wow, did I make a huge mistake?
That's why. Let me tell you something I learned so early on in the stupid ass radio business. Management is never your friend. They are management. You can be friendly with them, which I am. I'm friendly with Tom. I like Tom. I'm friendly with Eric Logan, probably more so than any other management guy that I've ever worked for, because we've gone out and had some drinks and stuff like that. But always in the back of my head is the guy is management. He'll do his best for this program, but if push comes to shove, you must remember they are management and you are the employee. Period. No one's going to be sticking their neck out or their job on the line when push comes to shove. You'll be out the door. You'll be reprimanded. You'll be suspended. You'll be fired. Whatever it is, management's here. We are here. And there's no big socializing. There's no friends. I don't go over their house. I don't I keep things very, very light with them. That's the way to do it, because in the end, you're going to get someone like John Douche Minelli, who comes across like your pal when he's talking to you, shaking hands. You're getting the little chat after the show. Hey guys, how you doing? In a meeting, he'll talk about issues with the program, which is fine, but not like this. Until he doesn't work anymore, until he doesn't have a job anymore, and then we're the asses, and we suck. And everything we're doing is apparently wrong, bad. You want to get into reading this?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it's a scream.
It's just amazing.
See if you can pick out the sarcasm. It's hard. You really have to know sarcasm to pick it out. It doesn't come right at you and smack you in the face.
I have a feeling he wanted us to go down with the ship.
Yeah, that's what he wanted.
And unfortunately, we didn't believe in the ship enough to go down with the ship. I mean, he couldn't. In all fairness to John Minelli, he personally hated some of the shows on the air and wanted to make some changes.
Yep.
He didn't like that JV and Elvis were after us. He wanted them in Afternoon Drive. He hated the radio chick. He was trying to get the radio chick fired. We stayed out of all that, obviously.
Yep.
But he couldn't get any of this stuff done. He also said if JV and Elvis got fired, he would quit immediately, which never ever happened.
Yeah, that didn't happen. What happened there?
And we stood up as much as we could for some of the shows around here. We supported Ron and Fez. We didn't know much about Nick DiPaolo, but we liked what he was doing with his radio show, and we wish him nothing but the best and think that he should get another shot at doing this.
I think Nick will do great on radio somewhere else.
Doing this talk format. And we pretty much almost got fired for, sticking up for JV and Elvis because we thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Besides that, it was a complete disaster. It just wasn't working because he wasn't allowed to make the moves he wanted to make.
Yeah, we'll be honest.
And the station just wasn't tracking. The last trend, because he'll get into details, the station actually did pretty well. But it was 1 month out of many that weren't too good whatsoever, and it was still the station still wasn't in any position to continue as a talk station. Those are the facts. So when the format changed and we survived, we were happy. We were happy to see what the next thing would be for us. We think that us in Mornings with Music is a much better fit at this point.
And I guess John would have wanted us to just throw ourselves on our swords and sacrifice ourselves, not have a job here, not stay on.
No,
what kind of point is that making?
No, I mean we're excited that we're the morning show here in New York. But we're also on another 20 some odd stations across America, and we're on XM satellite radio. So our world is a lot bigger than John Minelli's.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Greg, he does address it to you, by the way.
Yeah,
even though he bashes everybody in here, but it's addressed to you. I've been listening. And I thought I'd give you one last critique for old time's sake. I'll keep it real simple, like you like them. Ready?
Oh, why is Tom saying not to read the Mainelli email?
Holy Jesus Christ.
Why is he saying...
Why? It's an email to Opie. It says Greg.
It said the answer I was given was it was a private conversation, and unless something shows up in the papers, to stay off of it.
Wait, what? No, this is silly. This is stupid. It's Tom, why is this not? It's an email to Greg. It says Greg. He's sharing we're sharing a correspondence by John Minelli.
It was a private correspondence, right?
It doesn't say keep this private. It does not say keep this private. It's an email. If you get a letter, you should be able to read it. If you get an email, unless it says do not read this on the air.
Unless there are other things in place that...
I got it. I got the same email. It was CC'd to me.
I understand.
You got to make me understand this because I really want to read this to show what an ass this guy is.
Then I need to talk to you off the air.
Oh, my God. This is why this place sucks.
Oh, the lawyers get involved with everything.
No, Tom, F you.
No,
This is interesting stuff for our listeners. F you. F you. We've been reading emails for years and have never had a problem. Never. There's nothing personal in here. It's all about our radio show. It's a critique of our radio show. We should be able to read this on the air.
It wasn't.
You might as well do 92-minute music blocks in the morning. That'll be safe and keep everybody's jobs.
No,
F you. We can read this on the air. We've read 1 million of these on the air over the years, and never had a problem.
What is there to be afraid of if we read this? A lawsuit from John against the company or us or something?
We've made an agreement.
With who?
Him.
Okay.
To not disparage.
I never read the agreement, and I didn't sign the agreement. I never heard about an agreement. Perhaps if an agreement was made that we maybe should have been informed.
Well, now I'm informing you.
Well, this is a little late.
Well, because I
didn't
know you were going to take a private email and turn it into a public conversation.
It actually, to me, it becomes our property when he emails it to us. I would like you, if you could,
Sure, I'll be happy
to get in touch with Lehrman.
Sure.
And without throwing any bias in.
Gotcha.
Get the information we need.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, you need say no more.
I really want to read this.
Okay.
I assume, and my take on this, and I'm no lawyer, I understand,
Okay.
is that it is our property as an email that hasn't been. If there was a note attached on the bottom, do not read this on the air. This is a private correspondence between blah blah blah.
I got it. I absolutely. I get it. You may be right. I got it. Now I want to do some homework. Okay, and I can do it quickly.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. By the way, disparaging.
Yes.
That had to go both ways, I would assume.
Yes.
Okay, and that would include.
Doesn't include private emails.
Okay. Does it include postings on message boards?
It may.
All right. Because I never responded to his trashing he gave us on the New York radio message board.
I didn't know.
So perhaps that's a little disparaging.
I was unaware there was one. So that may change things.
Yeah. I could say the guy's an ass. In my humble opinion, I could say I perceive him as being very two-faced. Go check with with our friends, the lawyers.
Absolutely got you.
Because as I see this, it's now our property to read. It is as if somebody sent us an email, because that's exactly what it was. There was no stipulations on there as to whether it could or couldn't be made public.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
I understand perfectly, and I promise that will be done post haste.
I know you're, safe guy.
Well,
I understand.
I'm a man, but I live up to our agreements, and I have to make sure the company lives up to its agreements, and that, in this case, may or may not include you. I need to find that out.
Okay, check on that.
Yes, I will, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir.
And it sure reinforces a few things he writes in his email. I would definitely appreciate if you would.
I will, as quickly as I possibly can. Make those phone calls.
Thank you.
My pleasure. May I have a copy?
Oh, please take it. It makes great reading, whether it can be read on the air or off. It's fantastic.
I'd say that rabbit's already kind of out of the hat here anyway. But
yeah,
it's a matter now. It becomes just a matter of degree.
What was he trying to taunt us?
I don't know.
Why didn't he call? Do you have his number?
I do.
We have his number.
Yeah.
Get him on the air. That's what I say. Get him on the air. If he wants to get on the air and discuss this like a man, then he should do that. And we get the...
That's adding to the conversation.
No, Ope's very angry.
Yes. Good morning, James.
Hello, Tom.
How are you this morning?
I'm okay. I'm having BlackBerry difficulties. It's probably not the time to mention them. But
who's your supplier? No, don't mention that.
But, you didn't get the email?
The suit plug was just fine, by the way.
What's that?
The suit plug was just fine. No.
Wow! Look at the messages coming in. Leave, Tom. Tom, get out of there. Yeah. You're ruining the show,
Am I
Tom.
Dismissed?
Well, according to Pal Talk, you should have been dismissed minutes ago.
All right. In that case, I will leave.
Yeah, please get in touch with them.
Tail not between my teeth, not between my legs.
No, they wouldn't fit between your teeth with the braces.
Boy. Oh my God, the tongue is hurting so bad today.
We could discuss that for 3 hours. That'll make good radio.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, who knows? I'll be back.
What does "go" with 18 exclamation points behind it mean?
I think it may mean
Kevin from Connecticut.
No, remember, he goes when he wants to, so we'll wait.
I'm leaving now.
And he'll leave when he wants to. He told me that already.
F Tom. That's from Doc Hayden. Tom, you may leave now.
Yes.
I can't even read that one. Easy, Opie.
Yeah, calm down.
It's not your show, Tom.
I know it's not my show. Believe me. Let me go get to work here. How about that?
Tom is the new Ruin the Bit guy. Leave a-hole.
Mm-hmm.
Tom needs herpes of the ass. The listeners are really rallying behind you, Tom.
Yes.
Well, that I can't even say either. It's that something of Opie's should be flung into your face.
Is that a multiple MIGs reference?
Right, it is. Oh, Jesus.
Hello.
Okay. Ah.
Hello.
Hello.
John.
All right, here we go. John.
Yeah, I stayed up later than usual. I was keyed up last night.
Did you, is there a problem? Let's start right off the bat. Is there a problem with you, with us reading that email critique that you had sent us?
No, I don't care. You can trash me all you want. I'm a believer in total free speech.
Okay.
All right. Then I apologize, boys.
All right.
Opie, I certainly apologize. Sorry for ruining your morning, but...
Are you ready to leave yet?
Yes, I'm ready to leave right now.
I'm just wondering.
Okay.
All right. Let's have a nice discussion about this situation. John, got your email, read through it. Can't say I agree with it. And I can't say that I understand where you're coming from with all of this. When you worked here, we didn't really get the double barrel critique like you're giving in this email, which leads me to believe there's a bit of sour grapes and bitterness going on here.
There is definitely sour grapes and bitterness, although, as you may recall, a lot of the critiques I wrote when I was there, Opie didn't like them either. But they were not as harsh as this one.
First of all, John, that's not true. I didn't like everything you had to say, and we've had conversations that went past emails, and I told you what I liked about your critiques and what I didn't like about your critiques.
Yeah, well, in my view, the show has declined even more, and the reason that I am really annoyed,
did you see the last trend? It was the best trend we've had since coming back to New York.
It's still
it was through the roof, John.
Good.
It's not good. It was a hell of a lot better than all the other shows you were supposed to be the program director for, right?
Those were brand new shows.
No, they weren't. Radio Chick was here way before us.
My show. As you just
and JV and Elvis were here way before us, right?
That was not my show, but I was working on it.
We were by far the most successful show on Free FM. By far.
But we want near where they were.
And John, why are you trashing me? Do you realize I got you the gig in the end? How about a little professional respect? And I didn't play into your game. You've been writing me these emails off and on since you got fired, and I left them alone, didn't I? The only reason we're bringing this up today because you got under Anthony's skin.
Yeah, well, that was the intent.
Why? What's the point? We get it. You're bitter. You lost your gig.
You want me to explain why I'm bitter?
Yeah, because the company didn't allow you to do what you wanted to do. So leave us out of it.
No,
and we didn't.
No, that's a different.
And we didn't trash. I know where you're going. When this turned back to rock, we didn't trash Free FM.
Yeah, you did. But
no, we didn't. We supported Ron and Fez. We supported JV and Elvis because one of the things you bring up in the email is like we're not rebels anymore and we're playing it safe. Do you realize that we got suspended from XM for talking about JV and Elvis technically, and that we almost got suspended from this station as well?
Look, XM makes a lot of decisions that I think are dumb. So, and I don't have anything to do with them. What really annoys me is I figure you guys cost me 2 sweet gigs now. All right? The consulting thing at NAW because of St. Pat's, but I understand that. In this case, I believe if you had performed up to what you can do, the station would have had more than enough momentum.
Oh, you're going to blame the whole thing on us? You're a hack, John. You're a hack. We're doing just fine here and growing every day. You're a hack.
No.
You are a hack. You're going to turn around and blame your failures on us? Why don't you take it out on who you're really pissed off, Tom and the company, because they wouldn't allow you to make the moves you wanted to make. We had these conversations. You wanted JV and Elvis in Afternoon Drive. You wanted to move Ron and Fez down, and you wanted the Radio Chick gone. That's the reason that this place didn't work. Don't blame us.
That's why I'm upset at you.
Don't blame us.
You know, the angrier you get tells me there's more truth in my memo.
No, because I've had it with you. You're a two-faced ass.
Yeah, well.
And you're also one of these guys, passive-aggressive, hiding behind your keyboards. Hiding behind your keyboard in the middle of the night. have nothing better to do but listen to our show in the middle of the night and then type out these ridiculous, psychotic emails about our show.
Format change for 2 weeks and didn't say anything to me. You hid. Why did you sneak around that way?
I didn't hide. I didn't sneak around anywhere.
Yeah, you did. You knew about it in advance. You didn't say anything.
I knew about it probably the same time you did.
Oh, give me a break.
Probably.
No, probably. Okay.
Is that, John, let me just turn it around a little bit. You've been in this radio business. When a format is going to be changed or people are going to be let go and you know about it, did you then go around and tell that talent that they were going to be let go, or did you wait until D-Day? Be honest.
I didn't always tell most of the time I did tell the talent because I trusted them. Sometimes if I didn't tell the talent, I wouldn't tell them.
A lot of times your management would tell you something until you don't say anything because that's how phony radio works. I understand this, that's the way it works.
Most places I programmed, I did what I wanted.
John, I'm just trying to get to the point here of sometimes when a format is being changed, you don't tell the people. You don't tell the air staff. You don't. That's how it is. And then people get blown out. It's the way radio works.
Yeah, well, I kind of think radio could work better.
Well, so do I, believe me, especially when you're on the receiving end of it. But the truth of the matter is, if somebody knows that there's going to be a format change, it's not a license to go telling everybody that that's what's going to happen. Because you know as well as I do that contracts are involved, there's legal issues that are involved that keeps you from saying anything about program changes.
That's a minor point, Anthony.
It's not a minor point. That's the whole issue that you just brought up.
Your biggest fan for years, including in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows better than me how good you guys can be, and nobody knows better than me that you're not even close to that.
You know something? I'll even try to listen to that and grab a hold of it for a little bit. But let me also explain this. Do you agree that radio has changed so drastically these days that it is truly an effort to reinvent your show, to do new things, to switch it around so you can stay in the environment and still be successful when you were doing one thing and now you, because of rules and regulations, and you have to then work around it. You have to agree with that.
Not in your case.
In our case, we can do the same shows we did on NEW and have a job longer than a day?
No. You see, you missed the point of all those memos I wrote when I was there, which is that's not what made you guys what you are. What you were was riffing on the news and stuff in life.
See, that's
what the people want to hear. If you do,
oh my God, that was
fine.
But aren't we?
That was one of the things our listeners liked. They also liked the other stuff, but you personally did not like the other stuff.
John, we were also doing that. What are we doing on a daily basis? We're riffing on the news and talking about our personal lives. That's pretty much what we do on this show.
You're not doing it with the pizzazz and I mean, Anthony, you never do hardly any voices anymore, hardly any sound effects. You just don't. You're not on your toes. And Opie, you used to executive produce the show at NEW. You can't hardly be bothered, looking at the newspapers now.
Looking at the newspaper, executive produce the show.
Right. Okay. I didn't
see. I can't
papers this morning.
I can't understand that either. And as far as a lot of that old material, we can't even play that on this show. The Mike. Let's go the Mike Tyson bit. Let's take that as an example of something that was very popular in the NEW days, but not now. Do you realize how much of that was would be considered now racist humor that could get us thrown off the air, sexist? A lot of that material wasn't just the impression and the brilliance that is me that was behind it. It's the content which now is being prohibited because of interest groups and corporate fear or whatever it is. That's just the world we live in, John, and it makes it more difficult to do radio, not impossible. And that is what we're doing. We're working the show to fit in to terrestrial radio in this day and age. If at some point someone else gets into office, it lightens up a little. You'll see the Chinese delivery guy character I used to do come back. Mike Tyson's character will be able to come back and do the sexist, racist stuff that we used to do with that impression. It's a different world, John.
Why? I don't understand. The richer people get, the more timid they get.
It's not richer or timid. It's about keeping our job, John. It's about there's a line that has to be straddled. It's called putting on entertaining radio and keeping your job. If you do both, it doesn't mean you've sold out on either. We're not selling out and doing a piss poor show because we're listening to the man. We're keeping our jobs and adjusting our show accordingly to keep it funny and entertaining, yet not get thrown off the goddamn air or thrown out the door. What's wrong with that?
Barely keeping our job. We just
barely
went through a 30-day suspension.
Thank you. We almost got fired a couple of weeks ago.
From satellite radio.
It was in the paper and on the news for 2 weeks straight. Did you miss it? I mean, for God's sake, we almost got fired.
Yeah, well, again, I don't know why they did what they did. They made a story over there out of nothing. Well, it wouldn't have been a story until they made it a story.
Well, believe me, we've had chats about that too, and we're talking about your email though. I'm just trying to explain, and I thought you, of all people, would understand what's going on in radio these days.
It's like you've given up. It's like you're being almost petulant children by saying, well, if we can't do anything, we just won't do anything.
Given up. You've missed a lot of the conversations that take place on and off the air between Opie and Tom. That is barely giving up, believe me. If Opie had a gun.
That full hour you spent yesterday with that animal rights lady was entertaining.
Marge from the Little Shelter is pretty much a character on the show now, John. It's not just an animal rights lady.
It's unfortunate because she agrees with you. You poke at her and she laughs. I mean, where's the fun in that?
If I have to explain funny and why that's funny to you, but I'll give it a shot. She's a woman that works at an animal shelter.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Okay, well, I'm just recapping for the audience. That's kind of what has to be done also.
Yes,
she's
do that.
A woman that works at the Little Shelter out on Long Island. She loves animals. She adores animals. And the fun factor in conversing with her is the fact that we talk about brutalizing animals, and it makes her very uncomfortable. There is a certain cringe factor there when she's talking about trying to get Viagra for a female dog to help its heart problem, and we're offering her money to punch the dogs in the face. I found that funny.
Yeah, it would be funny if she got all excited and shocked and hung up and what have you and had a protest. But she just says, no, we can't do that. It's lazy.
He's insane.
It's not lazy. She's not on every day. Every so often we have her on, and I find her very entertaining, funny. She's a real person. She's not a radio character. Sometimes she does very well on the show. Sometimes it's what it is. That's part of what the show has always been. It's real.
Why did you want Ben Kingsley?
Why did we want Ben Kingsley? I don't know. Perhaps an Oscar winner. I understand. Perhaps as far as you think he's not in the demo, I don't think he's in the demo as far as what we're doing as far as shock radio goes. But perhaps an Oscar winner would be an interesting guest to have on for a segment.
He's still making movies, and the latest movie that he's in does fall into the demo we're trying to reach.
Yeah,
there's your answer.
Yet. Nobody knows what this movie is.
There's your answer. He's promoting it. That's why you have these guys on the show. His movie hits tomorrow, Friday.
All of your listeners know what I'm saying.
All right, some of them do. I don't disagree with you. There are probably some listeners that are like, yeah, John's right.
Read that memo and let them decide what they believe.
Well, okay. All right.
I don't care what you say about me. You can trash me every which way, everything you hate about me. I don't care what you say. I believe in free speech.
So do we. That's why, we're not keeping you off the air or keeping for you from saying what you want to say.
So you guys ought to be getting these politically correct tight asses on the air and giving them hell on earth to pay back for what they've done to this.
Like who? You think maybe having Al Sharpton on the show would be a good idea?
Yeah, and trash him.
Well, that's probably not a good idea. Look what happened to Imus.
That's because I said a stupid thing. You're clever enough to get around that.
I would love to. Let me tell you something. I would love to debate Reverend Al, but it's one of the. It's a landmine. It's a landmine. The black interest groups have put a lot of pressure on radio these days, John. It's the way it is right now. Maybe that'll lighten up in a while. Lighten up.
Are you gonna? Were you planning to talk about Juneteenth today?
Absolutely. I was talking about it in the office. You should have heard the racial epithets coming out of my mouth. Can't use them on the air.
Well, no, and you shouldn't.
Well,
you need to do that, and you never did.
No, but of course Juneteenth. We were going to talk about that. Rioting. The fact that the news had to say 4 times that Juneteenth, this celebration of the Emancipation Proclamation by blacks all over the country, the news had to mention 4 times that the actual Juneteenth celebration was peaceful. It was afterwards that 1,000 or 2,000 black people were rioting in the streets, turning over cars and pulling people out and punching them in the face. Of course we were going to discuss that. It's on the list. We talk about the news, John, every day. We riff about the news and our life. I've gotten into the past few weeks alone numerous occasions of bringing up stories of growing up in California and my father and how awful the upbringing was. Well, that's what we do on a daily basis.
Not on a daily basis. Not often enough, Anthony.
I don't agree with you on that, John. I really don't. I think on a daily basis we do that. We have fun. We have the comics in to comment on the news. We have people like Marge on who's just, I find Marge entertaining. Whether you do or not, I think that's a taste issue. And I think, again, a little sour grapes. I think you're looking with a very overcritical eye now because you're not really in our camp anymore, are you, John?
I am totally in your camp. I just want to get you back.
We don't want you in our camp if you're going to write these sarcastic emails in the middle of the night, John. You could have. Know what I have no respect for? The fact that you wrote these emails instead of just giving us a call on the phone. It's passive aggressive, something that Jimmy completely hates, and that's exactly what you've been doing with these emails. Passive aggressive, dripping with sarcasm. This doesn't help us. You're trying to knock us down a few notches, and you're not going to do it.
I did do it.
You're not going to do it.
And by the way, I'm not passive-aggressive. I'm aggressive.
We got you. You're not aggressive, John. Anyone that hides behind a keyboard in the middle of the night and sends emails is not aggressive. An aggressive person would have called our radio show and got into it, not us calling you. You would have called our cell phones personally. You would have showed up on the front stoop of the radio station. That's aggressive. What you did is certainly not aggressive.
Listen, Greg.
Oh, okay. Use my real name.
You knew about the change and wouldn't tell me. Considering I probably wouldn't even seen you on the last day if I didn't go into the studio, considering I never heard friggin' word one from you after, why am I going to rush to call you about it? I don't need you to call me, but if you had a problem with me, then that's what people do that are aggressive. They don't hide behind emails. That's the point I'm making, John. And for you to blame you not getting anything done at this station on the fact that we didn't do well with ratings is completely insane. Because the shows you did have control with were not really tracking, were they? What?
The shows you had complete control with were not tracking, were they?
The ones I put in were. Look at Ron and Fez. Look at Dick DiPaolo.
Yeah.
By the way, look at the trend next week.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you right now, you're going to see great Ron and Fez, and you're going to see another uptick in the mid.
Yeah, Ron and Fez were doing great. We never deny the fact that Ron and Fez were doing great.
Yeah, well, I put them on.
And we're going to have a horrible trend, John?
No, I don't know. You guys...
We were way, way past what the station was doing. So for you to sit there and say you're going to blame us on your firing is ridiculous.
So way down from where they were last summer.
They're not way down from last summer. Now you're talking about stuff that we got to sit down and decipher. They're not way down from last summer. They're not way down from last. No, they're not. They're just not.
Everybody came back, rushed back to hear you. And you didn't deliver the show they remembered.
No, that's not true, John. Or we wouldn't be here.
I told you that 100 times.
We wouldn't be here. We're an expensive show. If that was the truth, they would have fired us. They could save a lot of money. You know how this works. We're a very expensive show. We're a very expensive show. They would just get rid of us, save a lot of money, put a guy in here to spin tunes or what have you. There's a reason why we're still here.
No,
we still have a value to the company.
They would have to replace you on a whole bunch of stations. And like me, they knew you were turning around. We were making good progress this year. And then I just think it starting almost with the XM thing, I thought you guys went south again.
Starting with the XM thing, what are you talking about?
When XM, suspended you.
Yeah.
I got the feeling that you guys basically said, who needs it? Forget it.
Wow, a lot of people said that we never sounded better, so that's opinion.
Yeah, well, people are going to tell you don't sound so good?
Yeah. They have. They have, yeah.
Like who? Who said it to your face?
John, are you drinking right now? I heard
Mountain Dew.
I heard clinking of ice.
Mountain Dew.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were drinking.
No, I very rarely drink.
Okay.
You better be careful.
Watching out for you.
You don't want to get sued at.
I didn't say, I said, is he drinking? I didn't say he's a drunk. I said, is he drinking?
Well, if you're drinking at 6:30 in the morning, it's a little bit.
I've done him. I thought maybe you could have been up all night.
I actually am. I have been.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, John, I wish you the best. I'll take the high road. I wish you the best. I don't know what to tell you. I did think you were the right person for the job, and I still do, but it didn't work out. So, good luck, whatever you do next.
Yeah, well, I would say the same to you.
All right. I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
I hate that phrase. And
yeah,
so
see, if you knew the show, it's kind of a running gag on the show.
Yeah, but
whenever people really aren't seeing eye to eye whatsoever, you just cop out by saying we'll have to agree to disagree.
Right.
It's a bit. All right, there, John.
I should think you should read the memo and let the listeners decide.
All right.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, John.
Bye.
Here's his memo. We pretty much ran through it on the air right there, talking. He's unbelievable.
This business just blows. It just blows.
It really does. Oofa.
It just blows. You get Tom rushing in here to prevent good radio.
Let me tell you what this is. It's a balancing act. You're spinning plates when you're doing radio. It's not a job that you come in, do what you want, and walk out the door. It wasn't even at NEW. If you remember at NEW, we were constantly at odds, yelling, screaming, trying to get things through. And as we got more popular, more things were taken away because we were on the radar, as they said. That continues to happen, not only with the FCC, unfortunately, but with interest groups. People will get you in trouble. That's just the way it is. And you have to ride a very narrow line between doing an entertaining show and getting fired. The show we used to do is the Get Fired show. We're still doing it. We almost got fired. It starts with an F. We almost got fired. It's a very hard thing to do the show we do and keep your job. That's why there's so few shows like this left. That's why they had to call us back to this friggin' company. Do you think they wanted to hire the Opie and Anthony show? We screwed them years ago. They don't like us. But they had to. There's no other show to put on. Howard left, and there's us. Who else are you going to get? So we're trying to do an entertaining show, which I absolutely believe we're doing. I love working with these two guys. There's nothing else to do but do the best show we can do and keep the job. We can get fired today. Believe me, it's easy. Watch. One word and we're fired. But he doesn't seem to understand that. There was, like I said, I'll wrap it up. His email here with his critiques are a lot more biased than they were when he was working with us. And all I can attribute that to is a bit of bitterness, sour grapes, whatever you want to call it. He has personal issues. He brought it up when he said we didn't tell him that the station was flipping formats. There wasn't a phone call the day after the format flip, things like that. There's personal issues there. That's what I was getting from the phone call.
There's a paranoia in his head. You know, he's trying to put a lot of facts together. Like, we weren't talking to him on a regular basis to begin with. Yeah. So then he thought I was avoiding him because I knew about a format change.
I'll tell you something else. It's very difficult.
We weren't talking to him on a regular basis. We had our differences with the guy.
It's very difficult also to come in here, do this show, then do the XM show, and then have a show meeting, and then meet with the program director. Our schedule is really screwed up by doing 2 shows. When we were suspended, we were getting done here at 9. We didn't go home at 9. It gave us a lot of time to do meetings and things that we hadn't been able to do. Perhaps in that situation, it would have been easier for us to meet with John and talk with him, but it was kind of a rough thing to work both shows and meet with management.
By the way, every phone call is saying that the show's been really, really good lately. So,
and by the way,
if I plunk them down, then John will go, well, you know, you did.
They're just fans, and
there's also people probably that would agree with me, but you wouldn't put them on.
I'm not saying there are people that wouldn't agree with him. Of course there are. There are people that agree with Hitler. I don't, there's people that agree with everything.
Great example.
I'm going from, one big extreme. I don't know what to say.
But to say that we cost him the job.
Yeah, that was weird. It cost him 2 jobs.
Say what you will about our ratings, but we're outperforming the station by leaps and bounds.
And by the way,
there's only so much we could do. When some of the other day parts are barely doing a 1 share, it makes it really tough.
Do you think we really enjoyed getting fired for 2 years for the St. Pat's thing? Just to get you fired, John? Mwah! Hey, Opie, we got John fired. Mwah! We just have to sit out for 2 years and rot.
Well, a lot of people calling up saying he was contradicting himself. That is a contradiction right there because he wants us to be on the edge and rebels. Well, yeah, we continue to do that. We just got suspended for 30 days, and us being rebels got us fired for 2 years.
And by the way, when he said his shows...
But that got him fired, so he, I guess, figured maybe we shouldn't have done that. I don't know.
I don't know.
We didn't go into the studio that day going, well, this will be the thing that will cost John Minelli his job.
When he said his shows, like that wasn't my show, we weren't in his show. We were here first. He was brought in after we were hired here.
I'm sure we
were hired from the John from Hollander.
I'm sure he'll take the credit for our rating success here.
Yeah, of course.
We took David Lee Roth's crappy numbers and we made something of them. And you know what? Let's just throw this out there. We'll end it with this. A trend comes out what? Monday, Tuesday. I'm sure everyone's going to focus on the trend on Monday for this station here in New York. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Let's see what it looks like on Monday. All right.
That's it. Fair enough.
Because if it sucks, then they have a chance to fire us again.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. I have no idea what we're going to do now today because we're about 3 breaks behind.
Let's just play commercials the rest of the show.
It's Opie and Anthony. You never know what's going to happen on a daily basis on the Opie and Anthony show.
Yeah, it was...
Figure we'd come in and do a little radio show, and then all hell breaks loose this morning.
Yeah, give the guy credit for coming to the phone, though.
I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah. I give him credit for coming to the phone. He could have just kept emailing stuff, but he came on the air. That was kind of cool.
And he's one of the few guys.
I still think he's an effing lunatic. I think he came to the phone.
There's something going on in his head, but I'll give John this much. He still has passion for radio.
Yeah,
there's not many guys that do these days.
Yeah, I don't agree with his take on it, and I think it's bias with a little personal feelings that he's got. Being a little bitter with things, but. What are you going to do?
Only saying that when you get rich, people get soft. It's like there's certain things that are beyond your control, like when certain impressions of certain ethnicities are done,
right?
They dump out of it. They dump out of certain impressions of ethnic voices now.
I would love to. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Louis C.K. was doing a stereotypical Asian accent yesterday when we were talking about something with Vietnam. it was being dumped out of. You aren't going to hear it. It's one of those things now that can't be done anymore. I used to do the Yoshi delivery guy when we first got to NEW, and it was, because we got a lot of Asian Chinese food delivery guys that ride their bicycles like maniacs in between traffic, and it was kind of a fun bit to do. It was like a fake phone call kind of a thing we would do, and it was fun. People seem to enjoy it. But can't do that now. Would love to do things like that. Can't do it. Mike Tyson, grab a Tyson bit from NEW from the old days and play it on this station, and let's see how far it gets before it gets dumped out of. It was nothing but him sexually assaulting women and them coming back at him with some kind of racist response. All done in humor and funny, and it should absolutely be able to be played, but because of the environment we're in, it can't. That's just the world we live in. If John wants us again, like I said, to throw ourselves on a sword for our art, so be it. I don't think I'm ready to do that right now. I think we're talented enough to work within the guidelines, and until we say to ourselves, something, it's gotten much too restrictive, we can't do a show, then we're done, because then we won't be able to do a show. And we'll be fired anyway.
He's really trying to downplay the success we've had, too, since coming back to regular radio.
Yeah,
so the last trend we did a 2.6 in mornings. That was from 6 to 10. We were sharing an hour with JV and Elvis. I know it's part of my brain. We were sharing an hour with JV and Elvis, and they were on suspension. So their show, that time slot was a complete disaster. They said that we did over a 3.0 if you take out the JV and Elvis hour.
Yeah.
The station itself, overall, including our 3 share, did a 1.3 to 1.4.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was due to Ron and Fez's success.
Yeah, they had great numbers.
So for him to downplay it and say that we cost him a job because we weren't performing as well as we should have. We were outperforming the station by leaps and bounds and continue to. We'll see on Monday. I'm brave enough to say that I do believe we're going to have a really good trend on Monday.
Knocking wood.
Sure, why not?
Sure. I don't want to look stupid.
Sure.
I don't want to look stupid now.
Let's say hi to Floyd in Vegas.
Floyd.
What's up, Floyd? Floyd?
Hey there, Floyd.
Did we lose Floyd? Floyd.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Floyd. What's
Hey there,
up,
Floyd.
man?
I think John Minelli's a douche, and the show has been as funny as ever in the last week, so he can go screw.
Thank you, Floyd. You sound a little tired. You're breathing in that burning tire smoke over there in Vegas. Can you see it?
Just tired.
Wait,
No.
what's going on in Vegas with the tires?
There's a huge pile of tires from one of the big races out there.
Yeah.
And they're burning. And a bunch of black smoke is just wafting into the air from burning rubber tires.
Well, there's problems
Yeah,
with one of the races out
I've been
there.
out drinking all that.
Oh, you're out drinking all night, so you don't care about the burning tires.
You missed a doozy by
Damn it.
Jimmy.
I
heard it.
I was talking to Floyd.
Floyd sounds a little slow today. All right, Floyd.
It's in Vegas. What do you
Thanks,
expect?
guys.
All right, thank you, sir. Still getting emails, by the way.
Yeah.
Came in to do our show today, and the old PD at this joint tried to give us a good, trashing through an email. I give him credit, and then he came on the phone with us, at least. Finally.
Yeah. But he's still emailing, a little bitter. I guess he assumes we lost him a couple of jobs. Hey, join the club. Go on the yacht with Ken Stevens.
Let's see, another email coming in from John Minelli. Yeah, well, we believe in freedom of speech, too. You can read it if you want. So we're allowed to read this, Tom, so relax. Got problems all over the ball field today. It's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Don't know where to look anymore. Don't know who to trust anymore. Don't know who is actually in our corner trying to help us do a better radio show that don't have personal interest involved.
I'm in your corner.
Yeah, no, I'm
just saying the fact that I'm doing some Mancow stuff this week.
So John continues, if you guys had performed at 100% rather than 25%.
Not even giving us 50?
25%.
25%.
Because that would hurt a little bit more, right?
How can you say that? My nickname is 110% Jimmy.
I know.
They call me.
And I'm all about 102%. Little callback. Don't feel like explaining it. But if you're just tuning in, John used to be the PD here in New York City when it was a talk format.
Mm-hmm.
And, in all fairness to John, he wanted to make some changes. The company couldn't make some of the changes just because of contracts and such.
Yeah, things in place, right?
And we were outperforming the station big time. And, the company decided that they needed to change formats and go back to K-Rock here in New York and play rock. And they decided that we were doing well enough that they said, yeah, you guys continue doing mornings for us. We're very happy to have you guys do mornings for us here in New York City. They could have got rid of us easily, especially if we were at 25%, Anthony.
Exactly.
Free FM could have survived the Imus thing, the JV and Elvis thing, and the XM thing.
Really?
Yes, that's something no one wants to really acknowledge, but we compete against ourselves every morning. It's a touchy thing to bring up, but we actually compete against Opie and Anthony on XM. They're this really strong show on XM.
Yeah, we love them.
And we have to compete against them as well when we do regular radio.
Are they giving, what percent are they giving on XM?
On XM, the Opie and Anthony XM show is up to about 90-95%.
Wow, and we're only at 25. How can we compete?
And that's why we're losing, because this Opie and Anthony we're only giving 25%. The other Opie and Anthony,
rule.
They do rule, man, are giving 95%. It is pretty strange, but we do compete against a show called Opie and Anthony at XM.
Yep.
It's one of our dilemmas that we have to deal with, because we made this very unique deal in radio. Number 2, that's why I figure you cost me 2 gigs. That's why I'm pissed.
Cost him 2 gigs. Take some friggin' responsibility for yourself. Stop it. And take radio for what it is. They flipped formats. You got the boot. It happens.
And it's funny because he's trying to say that I knew way beforehand. And one of my pals in the business, Mike, that runs FMQB.com, he's like, John's insane. Like, I even knew that the station was flipping 3 weeks before it did.
Yeah, I know. Everyone knew. Stop.
It was the worst kept secret in radio.
None of the business knew.
That's why I wasn't going to go for that little bit of bait that he was dangling. Everybody knew. The shows knew that something was amiss. That's why I figure you cost me 2 gigs. That's why I'm pissed. And this shows that he's just insane because, in my humble opinion, we were outperforming the radio station.
Yeah.
And if the other shows did half of what we were doing, then I
12.5%.
I believe that this would still be.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I know. I'm on a rant. That's why it wasn't going though. That's why I believe that it would still be a talk format here in New York. Don't blame us. Blame the shows that you actually had control of. And don't bring Ron and Fez into it like they were your big discovery.
Yeah. It's like a no-brainer.
The worst PD in America would have hired Ron and Fez. Don't make it sound like you found this hidden talent somewhere. They were huge in New York.
Yeah.
And they could have been on a hip-hop station. They would have killed in the ratings. Yep. Everyone was excited to have those guys back here in New York.
I don't know if Fez would be as well received at a hip hop station.
Oh, good point.
Maybe
good point.
not.
He would have to keep us.
Hey.
He would have to keep a few things
well, it's not a good
on the QT.
Talking about the worst kept secret. I think the format flip is second behind Fez going, well, all right, there you go. He makes Paul Lynde look like Chuck Connors. That's
Number 3.
Nice 1965 reference guy.
I picked a dead guy and a guy who should have been dead 20 years ago. I am an ass.
And that's why the show's not as good.
Yeah. It certainly isn't.
If you were given 100%, you would have updated your reference.
I would have grabbed somebody from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, which would have been topical, and another tough guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 3, I didn't write such harsh memos when I was the PD because you weren't quite that bad then.
Well, we got bad, and
but even then, I was pretty direct. Now your show is virtually unlistenable. The industry knows it.
See?
The listeners know it.
Virtually.
That's right.
As long as we're virtually unlistenable, that means we're still kind of listenable.
That means we still have a chance, right?
I'm taking that as a compliment.
And this is what's so weird. Like, people that I do trust and I do get feedback from, and I wasn't going to go for that bait either. There are people that will tell me personally, you guys got to step it up. You've been this, you've been that. Maybe you're doing too much of this particular bit. I actually have in my life an inner circle of people that I do trust. And the one thing that has been coming out is that we have a new energy since the station here in New York went back to music.
Yep.
They said that it's a new energy. You sound excited. The show sounds excited. They sound like they just got a lot of energy, and the show has sounded much better since the flip. So it's his opinion against other people's opinions. And there was a time I did respect John Minelli's opinions as well, but I think there's just a personal agenda here that makes it really tough to see where his real opinion lies.
There's too much personal feeling.
And it's weird, if the show was unlistenable and the listeners know it, you know, then were they faking the standing ovation? And this is stuff we kind of downplay. But were the listeners faking the standing ovation we got at Jones Beach this past Saturday night?
Yeah.
There were close to 10,000 people there. We walked on stage, and the 10,000 people gave us a standing ovation. So if they're hating us so much, why would they go to one of our events?
That was all of our listeners.
Now, believe, you know, and let's keep it fair here. It's mostly an event for our comedian friends. You know, but we put the whole thing on, and we were in the parking lot getting nothing but love from our listeners. If it's unlistenable, why would they even show up?
No, but I got to say, it's not just an event for the comedians. The comedians are the great part of it, but part of it is to come out and hang with the show.
Oh, Jim.
No, but I'm being honest. That's not even mock humility. It's the truth.
Thanks.
Part of it is just to come out and hang with the show.
Yeah.
That's what they want to see. They don't want to just see a bunch of comics. They want to see comedians from the show.
Well, we've always been honest here. I mean, you guys are doing the heavy lifting at these comedy shows. You know, we're doing our thing, and it's well received, but it is what it is. But the audience is made up of our hardcore listeners, just giving us a standing ovation. Number 4, why is it unlistenable? Anthony now phones it in, and Opie no longer exec.
Hold on, Opie, are you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, it's Anthony. I don't like that remark. That phoning it in remark. That is. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wait, you're breaking up. Hold on.
You. I can hear it.
Phone it in, you mother... phone it in. Does anybody understand? Look, I worked for a living. I understand how hard people work on a daily basis. I'm not even getting into that. I'm getting into not the physical labor aspect of this job, but there is a pressure to entertain on a daily basis. What I do is difficult in that I have a lot of rules to abide by, more so than I've ever had in my life. I would love to do a lot of bits and things that were benchmarks of this program years ago. It can't be done.
Well, on XM,
I'm sure there are people that would love to bust out the fire hoses at Juneteenth. That can't be done either anymore. It can't be done. There are things I want to say and do that aren't able to be done anymore. If this idiot can't see that we can't do the Mike Tyson bit anymore.
Well, really fast, because we're on XM. They play a lot of our old material. That was part of the deal. We were allowed to take all our old shows and give them to XM so they can replay them. Anthony and I will sit there sometimes. We'll hear a replay of an old bit we did at NEW, and we sit there in amazement. We're like, oh, my God, how did this ever get on the air?
Yeah.
Obviously, it would never get on the air today, but we're even saying, how did it get on the air back then?
It's just times change, and the way people perceive things change, the power people get changes, and things have changed over the years. So if he feels I'm phoning this in, when I sit there at night, pretty much from the time I get home till the time I go to bed, it's looking at crap to do stuff with on this radio show. That's what I do on a nightly basis. I barely go out. On Thursday, we have our fun little poker game. And the rest of the time is spent researching and doing material, getting material and learning things and just getting stuff for the show.
It's extremely difficult to do a radio show in this climate. Because then a lot of people would say, well, why don't you just go over to XM full time? You know, because you could do a lot more over there, which is a fact. We still like the challenge over here. We like the fact that we're going to try to figure out and abide by the rules in place and see if we could still do an entertaining, clever, funny show.
There's still room for comedy and having a fun show on FM radio. Absolutely.
We're still trying to figure that out. We're trying to we're reinventing ourselves as we speak. I think because the climate is so difficult, he perceives that as us not trying as hard, and it's psycho talk.
This guy would love to see us blow ourselves up again. Just go on the air and say something. Did you honestly think they threw Don Imus off the air? You know better than anybody, John, how much that guy was billing. That station is was billing huge amounts of money with Don Imus, and they threw him off the air. What do you think could happen to us?
And we almost got thrown off the air recently, so we haven't even really changed our tune that much. We're still pushing it to the point that we just went through a 30-day suspension.
The guy doesn't seem to
satellite,
understand.
where you're supposed to be able to do more.
Right.
Don't you understand how insane this is?
The guy doesn't seem to understand that the climate has changed, and we must change along with it, or end up drinking Mountain Dew at 6 in the morning with you,
writing
out of work,
passive-aggressive emails to people.
Yeah, blaming people for your unemployment. Enough.
I'll say it again. You understand how insane it is to get suspended for 30 days from your satellite radio show.
Yeah.
Where almost anything goes.
Right.
I mean, that says a lot right there. And I don't produce anymore, really. Really. No. I'm not battling with Tom to the point we can barely talk to each other at this point. I'm not sticking up for the show and pushing as far as I can for the good of the show.
Hey, John, where were you going upstairs to management? You were considered management. Where was he going upstairs to management and trying to get things put across and saying, hey, lighten up, let these guys do this or this? I didn't hear anything like that going on. So just stop with the blame game. It's radio. It's the climate in society these days that is detrimental to the talk format. That's why talk radio really is having a hard time across the entire country these days. Unless you're a political talker, Sean Hannity, something like that, and that's like the last avenue of talk radio that'll be taken over by people with agendas. Because right now they got the safety net of, hey, I'm talking politics here. This is our ideology. Comedy though, comedy talk, we're pretty much it.
Yeah,
we're pretty much it. That's on the edge. That's still in the paper, getting suspended, almost fired, not getting thrown off. There's no one left.
We're the last dinosaur heading toward that tar pit.
Heading toward the tar pit. That's what we are. We're a lumbering dinosaur heading for a tar pit.
And trust me, we're looking around to see if there's another way. All right, we are.
Yeah.
But we have pea brains. This guy's an ass.
I don't understand.
I am so sick of the people that I help in this business, and then they turn around and trash me.
That thinks it's 1995.
I have another for another day. I'll put it this way: someone has been harassing me for a really long time. Someone that I helped in this business, an old employee, has been harassing me to no end.
Yeah.
And all I did was try to help this person. All I did was hire him numerous times. But he's blaming me for his firing. What the F did I do to you? Except protect you and make sure you still had a job way past the point where the company wanted to get rid of you.
People get.
What do I get for that? That's why I can't talk to anyone anymore. What do I get? Harassing phone calls and text messages and thousands of emails and other things that I can't discuss at this time because there's things going on now because of it. Unbelievable. I'm just so sick of this crap. Listen to the hour you spent yesterday with the animal rights lady. Doesn't understand the show. So some people liked Marge yesterday, okay? Here's the deal with our radio show. We take chances. We put people on the air. Sometimes we fail miserably. We're the first ones to admit that, but you got to be brave enough to go for some things. We've had radio gold with Marge.
Love Marge.
So John maybe didn't like the Marge phone call yesterday. Maybe some of the faithful listeners didn't like the Marge call yesterday. That's fine. But that's what happens when you're trying to create. You have to take chances with things. You don't know how it's going to play out until you do it.
That's always been the show. And that hasn't changed.
And that's why we are successful. This is one of the reasons we are successful, because we do take chances with our radio show. Most radio guys aren't brave enough to take chances. They go for all the safe stuff over and over again. So that's he should understand that.
Apparently not.
I guess I got madder than usual last night because yet another person said These are the guys you think are so great. Well, I'm assuming it's someone from his inner circle, and we're not trying to reach those type of people.
Yeah.
We're just not. I mean, John, if he had it his way, he wants, political talk, current news driven, no outrageous like stunts or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the many things we do with our
Bob
radio
Grant.
show. He wants Bob Grant. He's a huge fan of
Bob Grant. Couldn't be Bob Grant in today's radio. Hey, how about that one, John?
He was fired for it.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. There's a perfect example of what has happened to radio over the years. Bob got in trouble years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But now, could you imagine Bob Grant now saying the things that he used to say that made him what he was on radio? It can't be done. He's a prime example. And I love Bob Grant. I think he was hysterical, but it's just it can't work on the radio now.
Right. And then finally, number 7, you're on 20-some stations. You won't be after the buck.
All right, thanks, John.
Thanks,
what are you,
John.
Kreskin?
Well,
He's
you know what?
Kreskin now predicting the future?
I'll tell you this much. If stations start dropping us after the next book, I feel good with the show we're doing, and I know we gave it our all in this climate, and I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. If we lost all the stations tomorrow, we still have our satellite radio show, which we're proud of as well. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I know we're not phoning in, and I know we're trying the best we can under this climate that we're in, and so be it. I can sleep at night knowing that we gave it the old college try.
Phoning it in.
And then he writes another. Then I guess he. Hey, John. All right, well, this is a forward to me. Hey, John, as long as O&A are publicly ridiculing your critique, which I'm sure you knew would happen, would you like to post it to the board? So I guess he's been sending this email around to his friends, but there's some weird thing that John has with the company, so nothing could be, posted, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's obvious that Alan from the New York Radio Message Board got the same email that he supposedly was sending me, but because he's passive aggressive, he's blind CCing everybody on this. It's so obvious Alan has read this but can't post it because of some deal that John made with the company.
Right.
Very obvious in this email that was just sent. So then John writes back, and of course he CCs you and I, and he writes, if I did it myself, I might be seen to violate the mutual non-disparagement agreement I have with CBS. See what he's doing, all behind the scenes, and emails like, here, this is what I think, but don't post it.
Oh,
I'm too scared for you to post it.
Could I clear
but you're
something
aggressive,
up?
John? But you're aggressive?
Could I clear something up with the listeners? We're not mad at Liza Minnelli. God, people are stupid.
Mutual non-disparagement agreement I have with CBS. So I'm copying O&A on the reply, and they could forward the email to you if they want. It is totally okay with me. Fine. We'll send the email to Alan Sniffin. Give him a big plug today. It'll be on the New York Radio
Maybe it'll be part of Board Reflections.
It'll be on the New York Radio Message Board.
Yeah.
No problem. Giving John some press.
There you go. Oh, really, Fan? Holding up dirty words.
I've never seen anybody more scared to hold up a sign than he has been with that break. He's been waving that. Oh, it's just this tentative. It's like waving a cowboy flag in Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. It's like this little tentative break.
If you want, you can break anytime.
And you know what? And here it is. And this is what we deal with every day. You got one listener. He writes, I loved the Marge phone call from yesterday. I thought it was one of her best appearances on your show.
Mm-hmm.
The next email, I agree with John on the Marge thing.
See?
And that's what we have to deal with.
So what do you do? What do you do?
See, John wants us to do current event-driven talk and political talk for the most part. Guess what? There are other listeners that want other things. They still want us to do the 55-gallon drum challenge and things of that ilk.
You know what I really enjoy? There's a type of humor I really enjoy, and it's stereotype race-based humor.
Oh, boy. Isn't it wonderful?
I love it.
It rules.
It's funny. It's fun to do.
It's hurtful.
It's hurtful. It makes people, it shocks people a little, but they laugh, too. People have always said the best time they've had listening to radio is when the host says stuff that you think about but couldn't ever say at work or anywhere else. That has been taken away from the radio host. Yep. I love race-based stereotype humor. A lot of people do. Surprise! That tool has been taken out of the toolbox of the talk show host, because now there are volumes of books that tell you why you can't do that anymore. If I tried to do it on these very airwaves, you wouldn't hear it. It would be dumped out of, no matter how innocent. Jokes that children tell on the playground can't be told here on this radio station because words hurt, as we are told in a pamphlet I had to read from a effing lawyer. Words hurt. Do they? Then change the goddamn channel and let us have fun. That's something that people who I thought John understood, but apparently doesn't. I'm hoping at some point the pendulum swings the other way and we're able to really kind of get back into doing that again.
I think it will, by the way.
Everything goes in
eventually,
cycles.
I think people are
eventually
get
it will.
sick of this PC crap.
I've been thinking that since 1995, and they haven't gotten.
It's just gotten worse and worse. I know.
Stinks.
I know. There are stereotypes. There are Asian stereotypes that I'd love to talk about. I'd love to bring up my drive home more. Oh, my dear sweet Jesus Christ on the cross, I would love to do that.
I did. I was watching Rescue Me again last night. They did a whole Asian stereotype bit that was hilarious on last night's show that I was watching from the box set. I was staring at my TV. My mouth was agape. I'm like, oh, my God. And this Rescue Me is only a few years old. It's not like this is All in the Family.
Yep.
This, I think it's season 2 I'm on, so that's 2 years ago?
Years old.
That's it. 2 years ago.
Don't you look and go, oh, my God. Don't you think that, don't you get all, kind of nervous for the show? You watch and go, oh, boy, that could be trouble. You know, that's the world we're living in. It sucks. Believe me, it sucks. It totally sucks.
But don't perceive it as us phoning it in. Doing a 25%, a 25% effort. You know more than the listeners, John. It's not. You're just not being fair.
There'd be 20 friggin' different organizations banging on the door downstairs if we ran through a show doing all the material we want to do on a daily basis.
And his answer to that would be, well, then just do it. You're rebels.
Right.
Okay. And then we'll be doing a show for each other like we did for 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years we spent doing a show for each other on the phone. See, that was us phoning it in to each other. See, the show.
We're no good to our listeners who depend on the show and still do find the show entertaining. We're no good to our listeners if we're not doing the show,
if
John.
We're fired.
We learned that lesson when we had to sit out for 2 years. We learned that lesson big time.
See, just like you're no good sending critique memos to us after you've been fired. Imagine that. I'd love to show up at a job I don't work at anymore and just keep working. What are you doing, John? Go out, get a girl, have some fun, treat her to some Mountain Dew. Don't write memos about our show. You don't have to listen anymore. It's not your job.
Yeah,
I'm going to go back to Apollo Air Conditioning and just start putting up ductwork.
Why don't you move on? He wants to do something with the internet. He was trying to talk me into blowing up XM and stuff and going with
porno
to some kind of internet thing he's starting. It's like he
MountainDew.com.
He doesn't even acknowledge that satellite radio is doing well. It's like, no, we'll do it on the internet. Yeah, so we'll do the exact thing that XM and Sirius are doing, but we'll do it on the internet because they're failing miserably with all their subscribers.
Oh, yeah? Really?
I'm like, you're insane, man. You really are.
Well, the guy's giving us a show today. Got to tell you that. Got to give him credit for that. Thank you. Giving us a little bit of a show today. Unbelievable.
Off the subject.
Hey, by the way, if you want to go, go ahead, Jim.
No. There's no rhyme or reason, honest to God. But as you guys are talking, I am at full staff.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh.
Just go ahead. I had to let you know that. I'm listening. I agree. And yet, the blood...
See, you so agree. It's getting you so excited.
It's getting me riled up.
Yes. You're riled up, all right.
Well,
listen. It's on fire. You're talking about racial humor. It's natural.
Listen, man. I don't know. The listeners don't really like the show anymore, but maybe there's one or two out there.
Mm-hmm.
One or two. Maybe a couple of you. Hopefully. That want to go see us at Mohegan Sun. I don't know, though. I don't think they're going to really appreciate us doing a show up there at the casino. That was part of his memo, by the way. Oh, you went 7 minutes without talking about your comedy show. You know what we could be doing as far as promoting this comedy show?
Stop.
But we realized that there's a huge percent of the audience that don't care about that, so we're trying to just hit it enough so we get the word out. Anyway, we're not giving away tickets right now. We're just promoting it. Mohegan Sun is a week from Saturday.
And a week from Friday, we're going to be broadcasting from up there.
I hope so. We're trying to figure that out at the Wolf. And we're hoping some of you that still like the show. Hopefully there's a few. Will come and say hi to us. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's a great show, and all the comics you know and like from this mediocre disaster we call a radio show. We would love you to come out and see. Jones Beach was amazing. It was fun. It was fun.
And maybe someone could bring me a newspaper because I just don't feel like reading anymore. See, if we were rebels, we would play it real loud.
That's right. Tell everybody to rock.
But we're a little scared, so it should be at this level. We're scared, so let's just keep it at this level.
Right.
Welcome back to the timid Opie and Anthony show. Jesus.
Let's say hi to Kevin in Florida. Kevin.
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Hi.
I first want to start off just saying I really enjoy your show. I know you don't care, but I really do.
Thank you.
You know what? We do care. Okay. I just tore down one of the walls there of radio. We do care. We care too much. We like to have fun with you guys and hang up on you and do all that crap. But guess what? In the end, we do care. So thanks, Kev.
What's that?
Okay, and Jimmy, I saw you in West Palm Beach. I think you killed.
Oh, thank you.
And just one thing, Jimmy. I mean, you have to eat on the air, bro. I mean, it's one thing to hear you eat, but to hear you swallow, I just hear you getting fatter over the air, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I? You know what it was? Hold on. I try not to. Sometimes it's hard because I'm a growing boy. But today there was a very long first break, and I had to have my blueberries, and I had to have. But I'm not getting fatter, sir.
No,
a little compliment from
he's
somebody
eating
who's
healthy.
been hitting the old heavy bag.
Excuse me, who turned you on to the blueberries? You weren't eating blueberries before me.
God.
And what about the pink grapefruit you're now eating? Yeah, exactly.
Blueberries and grapefruit.
Exactly.
To eat the worst fruit
They're
on
good.
the face of the earth.
Blueberries rule.
Blueberries are too tart, and grapefruit, don't even get me started. It's sour. You're eating a sour orange.
But it's good for you.
Oranges are sweet and luscious.
They suck.
Grapefruits are horrid.
Oh, God.
Oranges are quick.
Hey, how about you phone in with your favorite fruit,
I
people?
was just about to say, here comes another memo. See, proving my point. You can only talk about fruit now.
It's Favorite Fruit Thursday. Should be Friday because that would be the triple F, Favorite Fruit Friday.
All right, Kevin, so your point is?
The point is, man, I would just let this go, man. You guys are giving this guy too much time. I listened to quite a few talk shows. And yeah, I understand everybody's lost a lot of freedom in the radio business, man. It's very unfortunate. I would just let it go and just do your show. I wouldn't give this jackass.
Well,
I wouldn't even say his name anymore, man.
It's interesting when we get calls like you, because we get this when we talk about Howard. Let's say, just let it go. We do let things go. Today we're not. Today it's our thing. It got under our skin, and it didn't get under my skin in the way John thinks. He goes, I obviously got to. Yeah, you got to me because you were hiding behind emails. You didn't call, and half the shit was dripping of. Oh.
You got 15 more minutes before you can say that, Opie.
Oh, never mind. All right. Well, the whole email was dripping.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was so natural.
I didn't catch it, dude.
Oh, it just came right across.
Because I didn't explain myself. He got to me because I hate passive-aggressive people that hide behind keyboards. Everyone knows that. I hate these people on message boards that have no problem trashing you personally or the show, but they just hide.
Yeah.
They hide, and that's what John did. He could have called me at any time if he had some kind of problem. We did talk, here and there when he was the PD of this radio station. And that's where he got me. Yes, you're absolutely right.
To Kevin saying just do the show and don't give him the time of day or don't entertain him or whatever. That's what we were doing. If we had talked about this every time we got an email or saw a posting on a message board or something like that, you'd have really heard us going off.
But he went on the New York radio message board and
pretty much the day after the format change,
and he trashed us, and we didn't even give it a minute on our show.
I was actually I read that post, and I ask anybody because I talked to a lot of people about it. I was trying to figure out a way that maybe he was being sarcastic or trying to be funny, but I wasn't getting it. I couldn't possibly fathom that he had these feelings based on what I had seen the day before. you know, and the way he acted around us during the time he spent here with us, and the way he acted on his last day here. And pretty much that night, I saw a posting on a message board, and I'm like, is that really Minelli? And did he really write that? And am I reading this properly? And I didn't respond to it because I couldn't possibly fathom that he would have done something like that. So, like, juvenile, pretty much, posting on a message board like that.
And, you know, I wrote him back just with a simple, like, was this you? Never got a response. And he talks about how I knew info that he didn't, and I didn't give it to him and all that. You know that the last day that he was employed, or the day that Tom had that meeting in the conference room and announcing to the staff that they were changing formats, and he invited John, which was a professional thing to do, and that was cool of Tom. You know that John walked in here, looked us all in the eyes, shook our hands and stuff. Like, if he obviously had a problem before then, but this is what I mean about passive aggressive. He had that chance. We were eye to eye. And what did I get? A handshake and a pretty much good luck to you guys. This sucks, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's all. That's all we got that day. He could say whatever he wanted right in my face.
And
that's what got under my skin and got me pissed today. All that crap. I hate it and always have. You know, I put myself in ridiculous situations because I speak my mind. Ridiculous situations. You know, and then you get people that hide on message boards and they think they're cool. You know, they never show their face or use their real names. Can't even show their real picture. There's guys on our fan sites. They show their sig pic.
Yeah,
and some of these guys trash us. Guess what? I respect you. I absolutely respect you because you got an opinion, you're speaking your mind, and you're doing it in your real voice with your real face.
Yeah.
Not with some made-up screen name with like a picture of Chuck Connors because you're like a 90...
Connors again.
Because you're some 90-pound weakling hiding behind a keyboard. So you have to like beef yourself up with some picture of somebody else that you wish you were.
Yeah, 90-pound weekly, not our listeners.
Well, didn't you say Chuck Connor earlier?
30-pound weekly.
Yeah, did you say Chuck Connor?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going back to that.
I put it in the air.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Please, I'm glad someone else used it.
Obviously, Chuck Norris was what I was getting at there.
I love Chuck Connors.
And the other thing, because this has taken over the show, John, how great does John think we are? And look, this is not me saying this, okay? This is kind of an observation. How great does John think we are that we could actually call it in on a radio show, make really good money, and be syndicated across America and be heard on XM, and no one fires us?
Yeah. It's not like we're on for 6 months and then we get the boot. We go years with a job.
Right.
It's not like 6 months and then we get another gig 6 months later somewhere else. We are employed until we screw up and get fired, usually with very good ratings and a very bad reputation.
Look, things might change, but the reason we're still on the air is because we have a value to this company. No one gets a chance in radio to just call it in.
Imagine if they're talking about like firing us.
Well, if
right
they
now,
do,
and they're telling us after the show, wouldn't that suck?
That would be. You know what?
How embarrassing!
It would be hilarious.
It would really be funny, but
we would laugh so hard behind the scenes, but then in front of the TV, we'd have to cry and make believe we're bummed out. But now we got our days free, and we can do whatever the hell we want with all the money that we have in the bank. What did I say?
I don't know, but I'd like to.
What?
I don't want my days free.
But you don't.
I bought a couple of too many toys. I need more money.
I bought a BlackBerry and I'm nervous.
Do you realize, and I'm not going for a woe is me, I'm really sick this week. Really sick. My throat actually was closing up. I thought I had to go to the emergency room.
I know. I felt a little tinge. It hurt me.
And the reason I'm here is because we are paranoid, and we don't. You don't even get the chance to call it in when you're sick.
No.
We rarely take sick days because we're paranoid. You can't. We don't even have that luxury.
You know what calling it in is? Playing a Jim Brewer bit 45 minutes before the show is over so you can go home. No, that's what we used to do at NEW.
That's what's so funny about, like, where we sit. That's why a lot of this is so funny because there's so much inside crap that it takes forever to explain. But yeah, back in the day at NEW, we actually kind of called it in. Do
you remember
when we had huge ratings and we're like, hey, you know what? We could kind of slide a little bit today. I want to go play golf or whatever it was. So yeah, let's just blow off the last 45 minutes of our show.
Remember when we did a bit and we decided like maybe 2 hours later we'd replay it again?
Yeah.
And then replay it again the next day?
Yeah.
Does anyone remember those days?
Right.
When out of the 4 hours of radio that we did, we probably did 2?
Yeah. Yeah, we would get a great bit in the first 15 minutes. We would play, sometimes we'd play it twice.
And then again the next day, of course.
We had this rule where we would play things 3 or 4 times before we thought the audience got sick of it. You know what?
We'd throw a friggin' song on sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just go, you know something? There's a new song out. Here's a band. We really just want to kind of play this. Boom, that song would go on.
You know that we rarely replay things now? I mean, the whole XM replay thing is its own entity.
That's different. It's not.
But as far as a bit we do on the show and then actually replaying it, we rarely do that compared to what we used to do.
No, it's at least 5 hours of just straight through talk radio. That's it.
But I mean,
phoning it in.
It's so unprofessional for him.
That is an insult.
That's him just trying to get under his skin because he knows that's impossible in radio. No one gets the opportunity to just phone it in. You just can't.
Yeah.
There's too much at stake.
Michelle Trachtenberg have a nose job? Did she get a nose job?
Is that which one is she?
She was in Harriet the Spy as a little girl, and then she was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Who's the chick with the big neck on CW11? There's a girl with a...
Whoa, giraffe neck.
Look at the size of her neck.
She's a very famous actress, but I can't...
What was she
think of her name or what she's...
Than knows. Than knows. Just go to Than.
What's her biggest movie? Impossible to Strangle? God almighty. I've never seen a bigger neck on a person.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, never mind. I don't remember her name.
Than, I'm sorry.
She was in Basic Instinct. She was the nice girl that ends up getting blamed for everything.
Basic Instinct?
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
What a reference. John Minelli's not happy with you. That's a movie that's 20 years old.
How did you know she was in that?
Opie.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Kevin. We were with
Kevin's still on.
Sorry, Kevin.
Can I say one more thing, man?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt you. Down here in Florida, we got like half a dozen local radio stations. Then we got, quite a few, syndicated, like the Lex and Terry Show, Bob and Tom, the Piece of Crap Man, Kyle. We got all that down here. I click you guys on at 6 o'clock every morning. I love the show. You guys are always topical. You hit on what's interesting all the time. You never go on tangents except for when it comes time to what you can and cannot say on radio. And I mean, I know you guys can. I mean, and everybody's limited, but you guys are pushing the envelope to as far as you can go, and it's awesome, man. It's awesome. So I just want to say, you guys doing one hell of a job, and I just say keep it up, and I wouldn't worry about what happens.
Jesus, how long are you going to go on about this?
Thank you.
We kind of needed Kevin's phone call today.
We need to feel good.
We were feeling bad about ourselves, so thank you, Kevin.
John made us feel bad.
You see, we control the direction of the show. If we're feeling like we're backed into a corner, we'll take positive calls about the show.
Yes.
Patty McGee from Jersey.
Hey, Patty McGee, don't you know?
Faithful listener to the show. You douches used to play effing foosball during the show.
Ah, those were the days.
It really was. Anthony would be outside like William Holden, sucking down beers.
Just drinking, smoking, playing foosball. Those were the days.
Stinky smoked dope. And I looked at prostitutes on Craigslist in Ben's office. It was awful.
That was our show.
That was the show. And Ken would walk around in his stupid tie and wonder how he could get rid of me.
Because he'd be around once every month. Ken, our boss would check in. You guys all right? Yeah, okay, goodbye. Goodbye. There he is with his baggage flying off to Washington or Philly or whatever.
Right.
And we'd have the run of the joint.
Oh, boy, did we.
You're right. Those were the days for us.
I hated every single person that was working on the show. It was just such a weird time, man.
But you guys were...
God forbid I got some happiness in my life and I'm enjoying myself more.
But as far as the station underperforming, I do have to say, even at the peak of the ratings, I mean, you guys were killing.
Well,
and it was a tough sell then, even.
That's the inside stuff that, I mean, if we had hours, we could do this. Like when John goes, I got fired because you guys were, you didn't perform better than you were. Mm-hmm. That's crazy because at NEW, we were the only station. Well, Ron and Fez at the end were doing very well, yes. And people weren't losing their jobs. They weren't changing formats. They just kept trying new shows.
Yeah. Over and over and
over. There were basically no ratings in all the other day parts except for Ron and Fez.
Yeah.
And they took a little time for traction. But the company believed in them and knew they had something.
Yep.
The company, unfortunately, did not believe in a lot of the shows they had on this station, John. You know that.
John and Jeff, though, we got to get them back.
Yes.
It's so weird to walk in here and hear music playing.
And not that babble.
They even grew on me in a weird way. Like, you ever listen to this? Sometimes there's just people who you'd kind of like to murder, and yet you can listen to them on the way in.
Well, I guess it's time to go.
Oh, well.
If you want to join us at the other place,
feel free. You don't have to.
But,
Oh, there it is. Somebody leaked his memo.
No.
That memo couldn't drip out.
No. No. He needed us to send it to Alan because he was too scared of the agreement he made with the company.
Oh, there it
but
is.
He's going to try to claim that he's an aggressive person. Do you understand what I've been saying today? So he actually had to go to us and tell Alan to ask us if we could send it in to Alan. Guess what? Opie and Anthony sent that memo to Alan Sniffen.
Alan says, here's the text of John's final critique of O&A that was forwarded to me, and then it says, not by John.
Yeah, but John will claim he's aggressive. Really, John? It sounds like you kind of like money, too.
Hey, what's the matter, John? Why didn't you just send it?
What's wrong with liking money, John?
Come on.
It's like you like your own money.
What's the matter?
Because if you're an aggressive person, you should have sent it right over to Alan. But instead, you blind CC'd everyone, didn't you?
When you
and
read
had
it.
little secret discussions as you're drinking your Mountain Dew in the middle of the night, you weirdo.
When you read this, just notice the dripping sarcasm and just bitterness in this. And I'm saying I will have a response on that very message board to his critique. I said it on the air, but I'll put it in text form and write that down as a response.
Wearing suits that they wore in Dealey Plaza, you weirdo. You want to be this rebel? How about you dress like one? But you're aggressive, right? Yeah, I see it. You're aggressive. Everything you do proves you're not. Blind CC. Call me on the secret number. If this gets out, I'll lose the money. And the agreement I made with the company. Blind CC. Send. Copy, paste. Let me use my top secret email that only a few people know. You're a phony.